Alrighty. So, this hand on the play, unknown opponent. This hand is basically, are you feeling lucky, punk? Ghostly Prisons could win the games. Could win the games against certain decks. Could win against Infects. Could win against Death Shadow. Backed by Wrath of Gods. You also need to draw land for that to work. And you're just going to instantly lose. So imagine you're up against Ad Nauseam playing this deck. So, I end up mulliganing. I'm fine if you keep that. You can keep that hand. Go ahead. Keep it. It's a fine hand. So, keep this. Trying to hit our second land and go off with Squadron Hawks. Happy to bottom a Hawk. Not happy to not see a land. So, probably one of the best non-land draws we could hope for, since Withered Wayfarer certainly is basically a land. So our opponent goes ahead, double Gutshots our 1-drops, and then bolts themselves. So either they are playing, either they're insane or they're playing Death Shadow. Or a little bit of both. So, Death Shadow, again, happy to draw that. Not exactly happy. It's a land. It's not a land. So, our opponent had 1 mana up. We're trying to play around Apostle's Blessing. So we're going to do this on upkeep. If they do have Apostle's Blessing, this at least ties up their mana pretty well. Turns out they have Apostle's Blessing, they have Tamir Battle Rage, and we are just dead. So, if we hadn't cast this path, this wouldn't have actually killed us without our opponent getting paying an extra 2 life somehow. It's a pretty big ask to not path this Death Shadow, though. Our opponent's low on cards. We don't even know if they run Apostle's Blessing. They need another land and have Tamir Battle Rage and have Apostle's Blessing. So, I mean, it feels like we just got dealt a bad hand. Speaking of dealt a bad hand, we had one land in play and we're getting hit by a 10-10 double striker. So sideboarding, purges, yes. Leylines can be okay. We didn't really see the Thoughtseizes. So I think we don't start with those to begin with. Basically just looking at these to start. As for cards to take out, possibly a Proclamation, possibly some of our 4-drops are a good place to look. I mean, we could take out the Hawks. It would be fine to take out the Hawks. Withered Wayfarer, not that exciting, especially on the play. Could even take out a Tectonic Edge. So we're basically looking for more cards to add in. The core Firewalkers are actually good if we know, like, our opponents could just be playing regular Death Shadow, but they're playing like Gutshots, and with hindsight I know that they're playing odd list, so the Firewalkers are great, it turns out, although I'm not sure if I actually brought them in. So just doing like this would be fine. A good mix of some proactive stuff, like our opponent's going to deal most of the damage to themselves, so could even just do this, have the 3 Wraths, not really worry about rangering, which seems pretty good. So we're on the play. We have Path, and we have Wrath, and we have Hawks. Not bad. I mean, there's no Ghostly Prison, which we would like to see, but we'll take it. And so we lose our Path. So our opponent's even playing Inquisition. You'd expect them to be running Thoughtseizes before Inquisitions, so the ley lines are actually looking to be pretty good. And we're able to draw 3 cards. And now we're basically just on this plan, the Hawk 1/1 lifelink plan. And we see Nib Magus Elemental, which means the Firewalkers are going to be great. Go ahead and get up a prison. It's going to be hard for our opponent to kill us this turn, that's for sure. And opponent just exiles Thoughtseize with Nib Magus Elemental. They know we just have a bunch of Hawk. And we draw a Ranger. I decide to Ghost Quarter. It's probably going to keep our opponent off green, and it's going to give us a good amount of information as to what they are actually running, and it still allows us to just cast Hawks, and makes our Ghostly Prison better. So double quarter there. Might look a little odd because we could have just cast Ranger, but it's actually going to give us the most information going forward in a game that we're probably massively favored already. And yeah, opponent just packs it in. So game 3, I mean, the ley lines would be fine. It's also fine just not playing them since the discard is not a huge factor in this matchup, although our opponent did cast a lot of it. So I probably should have brought in the discard, although I don't, or the ley lines, although I don't think I did. Our opponent goes ahead and mulligans, and then gets our Ghostly Prison. This hand's okay. I mean, we have 2 Martyrs, which aren't going to do a whole lot. And now we're both super low on resources. And we draw Ruined Halo. So, Ruined Halo, our opponent's almost out of resources. We don't really care about the Swift Spear. We are at a massive life total, so we're going to save this for probably Death Shadow. Of course, we get Thoughtseized again. And I just go ahead and gain some life, and we lose the Ruined Halo. And we got some Martyrs. So our opponent's at low. They have some 1/2s to our 1/1s. So, I mean, this game isn't looking terrible, it's not looking great. We probably have some better top decks than our opponent. For example, Proclamation of Rebirth, which is, in fact, excellent. So, I mean, our opponent could have another discard spell. We're kind of just hoping they don't, though, so we can get full value off our Martyrs. Which we're going to go ahead and do immediately, since we aren't really able to attack through the Nib Magus very well. And we even draw Serra Ascendant. So here I want to activate this Serra Ascendant, if at all possible. So I'm going to go ahead and chump block and gain 3 life. And again, our opponent's at very low, so even just getting in with 1/1s whenever possible is pretty good. So here's interesting play. It might look like a clear spot to be defensive. Try and just chump block, gain some life, and then play Serra Ascendant. But our opponent's at the unique life total of 7. And this way we're able to get through that 1 point of damage, and get up to 31 life, and then play our 6/6 flyer. So this is a great setup. We set up for lethal. Our opponent needs something now. And we will see what they get. So, Apostle Blessing. Protection from white means our opponent can hit us down to low enough life total. And we draw Path. Which keeps us in the game, because otherwise we would swiftly be out of the game. So again, I probably should have pathed on upkeep. I don't really want my opponent to top deck another Apostle's Blessing to save this Tarmogoyf, so I'm not a big fan of doing it then. And of course our opponent doesn't search even if they do have the mountain in their deck, because then we activate Tectonic Edge. And Ghostly Prison, again, a pretty good draw, since our opponent can't really get up to 4 mana that easily since we have Tectonic Edge. So they're going to be limited in the amount they can attack per turn. And they, in fact, go for the basic, which is a little bit risky. If we draw Ghost Quarter, and gets in for 2, and we draw Proclamation. I mean, we had a decent amount of time with this Ghostly Prison. We just immediately top deck the nuts, though. And I mean, a board of 1/1s might not look that great against a board of 1/2s, but it's going to be very awkward for our opponent to win here when every white card we draw nearly gets our Serra Ascendant online. They can't really play lands, or they get Tectonic Edged, and they can't really cycle through any part of their deck that doesn't damage Street Raised Gitaxian Probes, and they can't really set up for Tamir Battle Rage Become Immense. So we kind of soft locked our opponent out by putting out a board of Ghostly Prison and 1/1s and having them at 2. It was really only a matter of time at that point, and our opponent just decides to probe themselves to death.